We're going to show you the easiest ways to get into a headstand without the wall based on your body type, whether you're a super flexible person like Jillian is,
or if you're a stiff guy like Mazen.
In the previous video, we worked on entering the headstand using the wall like this. If you're here and you haven't watched that already, then you have two options. If you're just in the mood to watch a video, gather the information and practice later, stay here, get the big picture, and then when you go to practice, follow along the other video. But if you're in the mood to practice now, just leave this video, go to the other one, it's linked in the description, and follow along with that video. I won't be sad, and come back here when you're ready to move on to the next step. We're going to cover 3 different techniques first, but then stick around because we'll actually cover how to practice to work up to each technique. The first approach works best if you have a very deep and flexible forward fold. So Jillian is going to set up into her headstand. She's going to stand up. She's going to walk her feet as close as she can while keeping the legs straight and the flat back. Once her toes feel very light on the ground, she can bend the knee, one knee at a time, and go all the way up. Now, notice her back was flat the whole time. Once you get really good at this, you can actually make it a little bit more fancy. Instead of walking the feet, you can just slide them, and then you can keep the legs together as you press up in the pike. The second approach works best if your forward fold maybe is not as deep, but you still have kind of a decent split. So Jillian is going to set up into her headstand. Maybe she can only walk till here. That's not enough weight shifting, so she can't really get up. Instead, she's going to split the legs, bend one knee, and try to reach with that leg to counter the balance and be able to lift up. Now here you can hold this in a stag leg, or once you find stability, you can get up into the straight version.
Now for the third approach, Mazen is not flexible enough to keep a flat back and get his hips over his shoulders. And he's also not flexible enough to split the leg enough to counter the weight. So he's going to walk his feet in as much as he can, keep the knees close to the chest, and then from there, one heel to the butt, and then the other heel can float up onto the butt, and then from there he extends into his headstand.
Now, how do you actually practice these approaches in 3 different phases? Phase 1 is to go back to the wall. However, now you have to pretend that the wall only exists up until this height. So film yourself to double check. Here's how Jillian would enter into technique number 1. So the wall only exists till this height. Awesome. Show us technique number 2. Awesome.
And here's technique number 3. Awesome.
Now phase 2 is the hardest part, and honestly you don't have to be 100% successful at this one, but you just have to try it. It's called the toe hovers. So with technique number 1, Jillian is gonna bring one heel to the butt and just try to hover the toe 1 inch above the ground and hold there. This is how it would look like for technique number 2. So split the legs and try to hover toe 1 inch above the ground.
And for technique number 3.
Now phase 3 is to balance a tuck headstand or a half tuck headstand based on your approach. So let's check it out. If your toe hovers were very successful, then all you have to do is get into a toe hover and get into a tuck, balance here, and eventually you can go straight up if you want. If your toe hovers were not very successful, you can introduce an ever so slight hop, like this much. So just ever so slight hop and get up into your tuck headstand. Now, if you're doing the split leg approach, you can still introduce an ever so slight hop if the tuck hover was not successful and get into a half tuck position. So balance a half tuck, amazing. And then you can go up if you want. Or here you also have the option to have the dynamic swing of the split leg. So you just dynamically swing that leg, and it's not really a big movement. It's just a dynamic swing, just enough to get you over the toe hover and get into your headstand.
And if you're doing the third approach, then just hop a tiny bit.
And that's pretty much it. Make sure to practice safely. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up.